All right, we'll go ahead and get started. As I said, good afternoon or good evening, depending where you're joining us from today. My name is Grace Sullivan Zirkle. I serve as an Associate Dean of Students and the Director for New Student and Family Programs. And we are thrilled to have you joining us today for our Summer Transition Series, Financial Aid 101. We will be sure to cover lots of critical information for you today. But first, before I hand it over to our panelists, I'm going to go over just a few quick housekeeping items so you know what to expect in the next hour. Nicole, if you could hit next. So today's webinar is being recorded, just as a heads up. That means it'll be available for you later on to view. If you hear some gems of wisdom that you want to revisit, you'll have it at the tip of your fingers. If you give us about 24 to 48 hours, we'll get this webinar recording posted on our website. We will ask you to ask Q&A in the Q&A box. So at the bottom of the screen, you'll see Q&A. That's where you can type questions throughout the presentation, and we will revisit those at the end to answer as many questions as we can with the time remaining. We'll try to answer a lot of those questions live so that you can hear the responses. The chat is disabled, so again, put all of your questions or comments or anything you need in the Q&A. And with that, I am going to pass things over to my colleague, Nicole Knight, in the Karsh Office of Undergraduate Financial Support. Thanks for being here, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you all for taking the time to hear what we have to say. I hope to have some really useful, helpful information for you tonight. So definitely pay attention. The screens are chock full of useful sites and tidbits. So again, because it is recorded, do refer back to it. And then as you have questions, do throw them in that Q&A. I have two colleagues joining me, so they will be typing quickly in the background to address as many questions as we are able to in this time. And then, of course, our office is always available should you have further questions after today. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay. So what are we talking about today? A lot of you have applied for need-based aid and have received an aid offer. So what now? What happens next? What do I do with this? All that information will be covered this evening. So we have a few big headline tips. So some themes that we're going to follow tonight to help you understand what to do next, give you some action steps while you're eagerly anticipating the fall time, your arrival on campus. So tip one, let's explore. You have a wealth of information at your fingertips, and you probably don't even know that yet or realize that yet. Well, tonight's your night to realize that and to truly understand and take a deep dive into your new home, your Duke Hub, all things Duke related, and that central location, kind of talking through it a little bit. And then, of course, the aid offer itself and the pieces you've been offered, what to do with those. We're going to talk about additional funding if necessary regarding financing, how to make payments, where do you begin that process, what does that look like? And then also talk about access for what your family, your parents may need or want, you being able to give them some action steps as well. And then lastly, just getting to know a little bit about us and our office, where we're located, and how to get in contact with us. Okay. So let's explore and let's talk about that Duke Hub that is now completely available to you. We've been hearing from some of you, so it's very clear that some of you have caught wind of your applicant access that has now flipped into what will forever be known as your Duke Hub. So when we say that, we quite literally mean a hub. It is all inclusive of absolutely everything related to your undergraduate career here at Duke. So as a financial aid office, we have several pages and different areas and sections dedicated to all things financial. So as you see here, if you're able to see, this is a literal screenshot of what your hub looks like. So it's a dashboard. So most of our students are going to access and use this resource through their phone, and that's intentional. So because of that, the hub is completely mobile friendly. We anticipate that you will be navigating and looking at this information from your phone. So it has many drop downs and call outs that allow you to drill in as much as you need to look at information, but also for your parents, and we're going to talk about that, for them to also be able to drill in and see information specific to your account. So we're just going to stay here for a minute, and I'm just going to highlight some things that we definitely want you to be paying attention to and to look at over the summer and become familiar with. So again, this platform has so many pieces of information, but a lot of it is just different ways of viewing the same info. So again, being the financial aid office, there's about 7 different ways just to view aid. So the really cool benefit of this hub is you get to choose how you view things, what view makes sense for you and what you're trying to understand, whether it's something specific about your aid or an overall look at what your aid offer is and the various pieces. You get to drive that and decide how you look at it and how you view it. So under the financials tab section of your dashboard, you've got many options. What you see here are just the ones that fit within the page. But you're going to be able to see your account activity, your everyday accounting of what's happening. Every single credit and debit from the moment you hit campus is reflected here. In addition to obviously the financial aid offer, the summary of how much we've offered you for the year, how much per semester, how much for a summer. You get to see those breakdowns and those disbursements. What aid has been accepted versus what you may need to take action on. Payment plans, have you signed up? Are you signed up for the year, for a semester? Details of that information. Specific to loans, what loans have you accepted, be it institutional, private, or federal? So the entire breakdown, as microscopic as you want it to be, or as big banner as you want it to be, we definitely would like you guys to take a look and drill through to see just what information is located on each page. And as you're doing that, taking into account as we move into the fall, obviously nothing's happened just yet, but very, very soon, these pages will start to have more and more information on them. So I'll just go ahead and throw out there that the first fall bill will be made public on June 24th. So as we near the end of this month, you're going to start to see a lot of activity on these pages. And that's especially a good time to take a look and understand the activity page. What does it look like to have charges, and become familiar with that? So in addition to the financial aid tab, you can see that I've highlighted a few others. So we're going to quickly go through those. The manage proxy users, we're actually going to circle back to that, but that is what we call guest access, and it's vitally important for your parents. But for you as students, the My Information is very important for you because it is the university's catch-all. It is where we as a financial aid office, Bursar as the billing office, the registrar's office, even admissions in the coming weeks. We all use that as a place to request information. If we need something from you, whether it's submitting a document or completing one of our internal forms or submitting something to the health office, for example, we will put it there under your My Information to-do list. So as the name indicates, it is quite literally a list where any and every office on campus has an opportunity to request information. Once you submit it, it gets checked off, which means it disappears and you no longer see it. So we highly recommend that whether it's now throughout the summer, as you're acclimating to campus, and thereafter, once you're here, that to-do list is always live and relevant to an office needing something from you or of you at that moment. So it continuously updates to take items off once you have submitted the information or we have what we need from you from a third party. And then if we still need something new, it's going to add that item and show. As a financial aid office, your aid is for 1 year. So for years 2 through 4, you have to reapply. Where do you reapply? this to-do list. Every end of fall into beginning of spring, we post items to say, okay, it's time to reapply for next year's aid. Here's what we need from you specifically. And you will go through and update or upload items. You will complete your FAFSA. You will complete your CSS profile annually. And that is where you will look and refer to make sure that Duke has it. The neat thing is, as first years, you all were referred to the College Board iDoc. So we sent you there to upload documents. We sent you to College Board to do the profile. It changes a little years 2 through 4. So we're still going to send you to College Board and FAFSA to do those applications, but you're going to upload tax documents to Duke directly. So that is a unique switch from your first year. Years 2 through 4, you no longer need to use the College Board iDoc. We can take those documents securely through your Duke Hub. And even now, as students who have accepted Duke's offer and are coming to Duke, you actually already have access to this. If for some reason we needed something right now, we would add it to your Duke Hub and you would send it to us directly by uploading to that to-do list item. So it's a really nifty feature, and we're very excited for you all to be able to use it finally because you are coming to Duke. So definitely take a look at that. It would be worthwhile to take a look even after this conversation to see, are there any items already posted that I need to submit or upload? But as we move closer into the summer and approaching August, there may be items that we need specifically. That's where you look to see and upload. It'll have a due date, it'll have an upload link, and any other relevant information you need to know to complete that item. So then lastly, that leaves the message center. That's another place where any university office may post information. So it's literally a center where your emails, any other notifications, mainly from financial aid and the billing office, Bursar, it'll be a history of anything we've sent you. So prior award letters that you could physically print, copies of your actual PDF bills that are sent monthly, any other notices regarding your billing account, if you have a payment plan, for example, and maybe your payments aren't enough, or maybe they're too much, notifications that an adjustment needs to be made. If there's an issue with your account, Bursar may also post a notification there to let you know, so that you can take action and so that you can inform your parents of what's going on. So these are just a few of the pages that we definitely utilize here in the financial aid office, but many other offices on campus also use them. Okay. Okay. So in addition to just exploring the hub, let's talk about the aid itself. We're going to assume if we gave you some grant funding, I assume you want it. I'm not going to ask you to accept it. In the coming weeks, we will be finalizing your aid offers and accepting that grant portion for you on your Duke Hub. So as of right now, if you were to look, it's going to say everything's just been offered. That will flip and it will show any grants and work study as accepted. Work study, being that it's a choice, we do accept it for you. But if you choose not to work, that's fine. If you don't act on the work study, nothing happens. It's just out there as an option should you choose to utilize it. But the bigger piece being the grant, it will automatically show as accepted, which leaves student loans. So loans are a choice should you use them to help pay your bill, but you will actively have to accept them to initiate that process. So on the hub itself, there's a section titled Accept Decline. Again, loans are the only piece you need to act on, and you would have to accept them. You don't need to decline them. If you don't want to use it, you just leave it alone. Just ignore that it's there. Your grants will be automatically accepted, as well as any work study. Now that said, another tidbit, just so you know, once you accept your aid, it's just going to sit there. It's going to sit and wait for the fall. 10 days before the start of any semester, whether that's the fall, spring, or summer term, if we've offered grant funding and or loan funding that you've accepted, it's going to sit as offered and accepted until 10 days before the start of that term. 10 days before the start, that money will physically move and disperse. That's what we like to say. That funding will disperse toward your bursar account. So you'll actually see the credits. So you'll have a slew of charges related to your tuition and fees, housing, meal plan, so forth and so on. But 10 days before class, you'll actually see our funding hit, AKA disperse towards those charges. So depending on your prior experience with college, we are often told that that's a little backwards from what people are used to. Our money is going to hit your account after your payment as the family, and that's not unusual. It's built that way, so that by the time our funding hits, your account should be zeroed out. That is to say, when you get your bursar bill, when you're looking at your account information online, it already subtracts what Duke is going to give. So if we're going to give you 20,000 in grant, that is subtracted from your bill when you see it in PDF form. When you look online to see what you owe, it's taking that into account. So you're never paying the full balance if you're receiving need-based aid. You're just responsible for what's left over, regardless of when our money is dispersed. So that's a big piece that I hope to drill home, and hopefully you understand. So if we have questions about that, if you have questions about it, please do put it in the chat, because we want to make sure you understand you're not responsible for the full bill, just the portion that's not being covered through Duke grant or loans of any kind. So being that loans, you have to accept one. Two, there is additional paperwork so that they are prepared to disperse in August. So this is something students do have access to now, but typically you don't need to until you accept them. Complete what we call a master promissory note, and then entrance counseling. So both of these items are on the Federal Student Aid website. You would log in with your FSA ID and continue through to basically sign the paperwork saying that you understand the loan terms and conditions and are still choosing to pursue using them for your educational expenses. So that paperwork is good for all 4 years. So as a first-year student, you complete these 2 items once. Duke receives that information that you are all set from the Department of Ed, and that money sits there and waits until August. So we are on the cusp of sending you all that information to say, 1, go accept loans, and then 2, complete this additional paperwork so that they're ready to go for the fall. Okay. So work study. Work study is pretty popular around here, I would say. A lot of students who are interested in employment throughout their 4 years are able to find positions that either are tied to their interests academically or socially, or if nothing else, are paid in a way that allow a student to help in their education, whether it's help contribute towards the bill or towards their personal expenses. So for all of those reasons, it is definitely something to think about and consider utilizing over the course of your 4 years. So here at Duke, as I said, we automatically accept work study for you. If you decide not to work, that's fine. You just wouldn't need to do anything. Just let it stay out there on your award, and it'll expire at the end of the academic year. But if you do decide you want to at least look into it and utilize it, the place to go would be the student employment site. So as you can see here, this is an actual screenshot of the student employment homepage. And it's designed to be very user-friendly. So as a student, you access it through the student link, and then all of our employers access it through their own employer links, so that it pairs students with the employers for payroll purposes. So for those who may not know, what is the point of work study? How is that different from any other job? So work study is a benefit to the employer. Basically, your employer gets a subsidy so that what they pay you is, or of what they pay you, a percentage comes out of their own funding versus someone else's. So for a lot of positions, they do rely on students with work study to be able to afford it, but not every position. There are plenty of positions at Duke where work study or not, if you choose to accept it, it doesn't matter. But for those who may specify work study, you automatically have it in your aid offer, and we've accepted it for you. So for those who will qualify for federal work study, that means their employer is only paying 25% of your earnings. You just get a paycheck. You get a biweekly paycheck to your personal checking account to do with as you so please. But your employer is getting that subsidy of 75%. For those who don't qualify for federal work study, that's fine. We give you our Duke version, which is a 50-50 split. Our office is going to pay 50% of what you earn. Your employer is going to pay the other 50%. So everyone wins. It helps significantly with departments be able to hire students and employ either more students or employ you for longer periods because of that subsidy. But again, as a student, you receive the benefit of getting paid biweekly directly to do with as you so please, as your family decides. Most commonly, students will treat that as their personal funding and miscellaneous money to go out occasionally or to potentially help pay for their books. Or if you would like, yes, you can use that money to then turn around and make a payment toward your Bursa bill. Completely up to you. I would say that we are pretty generous in our hourly wages. So students who choose to work typically exceed the initial amount we offer, and that's okay too. You can earn more than what we've offered you. We just don't adjust it until it's necessary. So our minimum wage is 16, and a student may earn upwards of 23, probably by the time they hit upper class status and they're a specialized person in their job. So it's not hard to earn that 2,200, I would say. And I think my colleagues would agree, we have adjusted work study a lot in the last 2 years with that increase in the minimum wage. So definitely something to think about and consider, maybe not when you first get to campus, but maybe once you get acclimated and you get settled, definitely rolling into the end of your fall, beginning of that spring semester, think about it. I don't know a student who has started and decided to stop. I'll say that. Okay. So another big question we get asked is how do outside scholarships, AKA external scholarships, affect the Duke aid? So there are a lot of rules we must follow when it comes to treatment of external scholarships. So this is kind of an overview of how we see it and our intention in using your third-party money with our Duke funding. So this is the easiest, simplest way to show you. You have an aid offer in which we have asked your family to pay a certain amount. We may have offered a student loan, we have offered work study, and then the rest is Duke grant. So when you have an outside scholarship, we've got to incorporate that into the existing Duke aid. So it cannot replace what we're asking your family to provide. It has to be incorporated and replace something that Duke is providing. Okay. So our first place of replacement is your what we call self-help. So that loan and work study are what we will cancel first, dollar for any external scholarship you're bringing with you. So if we've offered a 5,000 loan and then the work study is a default 2,200, that's a $7,200 financial benefit that you can receive if you have external scholarships. But once you exceed that total of loan and work study, we do have to replace your Duke grant. So in order, it's loans, work study, Duke grant are reduced, if not canceled, to make room for your third-party funding that you're bringing with you. So if you were to look at your aid offer tonight and look to see how much was that loan Duke offered? Was it 5? Was it 4? Was it 2? And then that $2,200 work study, what's the total of those two amounts? Anything above that total is going to reduce your Duke scholarship dollar for dollar. Now, if you already know that you're in that situation of having your Duke grant funding reduced, you're more than welcome to reach out to us to let us know, hey, I think I'm in that boat. Is there anything I can do? And there may be a few options to help you maximize the benefit of your third-party scholarships. So definitely as we move into June, closer to the end of June, ask that question and we'll put you with your counselor to look at your aid offer to definitively help you understand how your third-party money is going to impact your Duke aid and if there's anything we can do to increase that maximization. If you have gone on our website, hopefully some of you have, we do have a formal survey to collect outside scholarship data. So if you do know now, you could use it, but we don't ask until later in June for students to report what are you getting from third parties. So it allows you to create as many entries as needed to record the name of your outside scholarships and how much each one will be. You can also specify if it's going to be evenly split, which most are evenly split between the fall and spring semesters. Or if not, is it all going to be sent in the fall so that we can accurately update your aid offer so that as soon as possible, it's showing all Duke funding, all external funding. And then when that bill is produced, it subtracts it. So just like our aid reflects, any third-party money you tell us about will also be reflected on your billing statement. Because again, if it's not money coming from you, you aren't responsible for paying it. So the more we know, the better a position for you from a billing perspective so that you are only paying what you are responsible for, not what Duke's giving you and not what another third party is giving you, regardless of when that money comes to Duke. So some of you guys will receive scholarships and the check's not going to be sent to September. Well, the bill is due 1st of August. That's fine. If you've told us you're getting $2,500 from Mount Sinai Christian Community Organization Foundation, whatever it may be, as long as you've told us and we've accounted for it, Bursar does not expect you to pay it. Whether the check comes in September, December, January 2025. If that information is accurate and we can attest that yes, that's coming, you will not need to pay it in advance of that check coming to Duke. Okay. So speaking of that lovely bill, what are some strategies how to think about paying it as we near that initial due date, which is the first business day in August? So we know what we're getting from Duke as far as grant aid. You're subtracting that fall portion right off the top. After that, you will need to decide, are you going to utilize student loans? And if so, you will accept what we've already offered. If we haven't offered anything or you're curious about more federal financing as a student, that's just a question. That's just an email question to our office and we will let you know what's available. I will say as a first-year student, you're limited federally, so you can have up to $5,500 for your entire first year. So most students have a 5,000 loan, which leaves 500 left at your disposal. Should you want to utilize that to help pay your family contribution, you would email us and that would be directed to your counselor to add that funding for you. Once you do the paperwork that I discussed previously, that promissory note and that entrance counseling, then you're good to go. It just sits there and waits for August. There is no additional application process. It's all tied to your FAFSA. So accepting the loans, asking for additional if you haven't maxed out that 5,500, and then doing the paperwork. For parents, and students, you do have a few more options if you are looking to finance a little more. Um, Students do have private lenders available if they want to pursue that process. So you do have that option of looking. We have a recommended lenders list that we would direct you to view and to compare the different loans available to you as a student who is also the borrower. But by and large, the list is geared toward parents who are going to be the borrowers with the student as the beneficiary of the loan. So that list, that recommended lenders list, allows you to check off different loans that you might like, and then look across the board to see what are their interest rates, what are their terms and conditions, what do their repayment schedules look like, and then make informed decisions about who you may want to apply with. So the interest rates for student loans and the federal parent loan have been announced. So for those who want that information and their parents may be interested, so for the 24-25 year, the federal student loan interest rate is going to be 6.53. For parents who may be interested in the federal plus loan, that rate will be 9.08. So that's definitely something to consider, especially if a parent is going to look at financing, comparing the federal loan to other private loans that may offer better interest rates. Is definitely something we would want them to do. I did mention that the initial bill is going to go out on June 24th. The fall bill is always due August 1st. Your spring bill will be due the fourth or fifth business day in January every year. So it's evenly split, that fall and spring bill. You can count on it like clockwork. It's going to be there. So if financing is something you're interested in, you have a choice as to whether you do a full year's loan. So basically take your fall bill and double it, or semester by semester. And in that case, you'd only be looking at the bill in front of you and making a call on how much to receive based on those charges alone. So most families, you just want enough to pay that bill, so you can only apply for that much. Or some do want the student to get a refund for personal expenses. So it varies, and it's very dependent on how your family wants to treat financing and how much they want to utilize. So those conversations your parents will probably start having with us soon, and we will be giving them the same information, our recommended lender list, to help them compare, informing them of your options as students, and all of that nitty gritty. So definitely something that we want you all to participate in and be aware of. But by and large, when it comes to financing, we understand that parents are typically the ones who take out the loans. And if they have those questions, definitely tell them to contact our office, and we will give them all of the direct links and information so that they can be well equipped come mid-June, and obviously by the end of June once they get that first bill. Okay, so in conjunction with financing, the other popular option to pay that bill is our payment plan. So I guess there would be three options to pay your fall and spring bills at Duke. You can pay all at once, meaning you can pay a lump sum when it's due. You can opt to do financing for all or a portion of your balance. You can also do a payment plan. I will say the most common method for families is to kind of utilize payment plan and financing together. So a lot of times a family will sit and figure out, okay, how much can we afford out of pocket for the academic year? Whatever that amount is, utilize the payment plan to pay it over time. So Duke offers 3 different payment plans. You can opt for either more payments that are smaller or fewer payments that are larger. So the dates I have listed reflect if you were to choose more payments that are smaller, and it stretches out that balance for your 9 months at Duke. It stretches it across 10 months. So you would start in July and end in November for the fall, start in December for the spring, and end in April. So that before you leave campus, your spring bill should be paid up. So again, if you prefer to delay starting to pay Duke, you can do that by choosing a plan of 8 or 6 payments. So if you choose 8, you start in September. If you choose 6, you would start in October. So it all depends on your family and what makes the most sense. There is no negative consequence to starting later. The fee to join is $40, and that's standard. So truly, it is just up to what makes the most sense for your family. Most families do choose the 10 because it's just the easiest to do that math and to keep track of. And when you do that, it ensures that you do not get late fees. Excuse me. You will not have late fees on your Bursa bill because you have an active payment plan. So that's another great benefit. So there's no interest attached. There's just the one-time fee, and it prevents you from getting late fees. Now, if I need to come back to this at some point, I definitely can for those who want to screenshot or take down URL information. But our bursar is our billing office. So they are responsible for all of your charges, all of the credits, being the in-between for the payment plan, all of those things the bursar's office will maintain and manage. So their website is full of all this information. So you can access it at any time. You could go to duke.edu and just type in Bursar, Bursar, and it'll take you to their homepage where it drills into options for payments, the billing schedule. So if you want to know when copies of the bill are going to be released, and then on a monthly basis, when new balances are due, all of that information, you can find it on the Bursar's website. Hey. So I know that was a lot already, but trust, we are in this together. I like to say that as much as you were coming here to go to college, you didn't know you were also here to get a financial literacy education, but you are. And that's a good thing because for a lot of you, we know this is truly the first start to your financial history and understanding a lot of what are complex terms and competencies, and it's not necessarily intuitive. So we're here to help. We're here to help guide you. We're here to help your parents. But in doing that, we also want to honor and recognize your privacy. And so here at Duke, we have what we call proxy access. So that is you as students giving those you choose, which mainly your parents, the ability to see portions of your coveted Duke Hub without seeing everything. So you get to control what they can see. And if each of your parents were to have a guest access account, they could have varying levels of access. You don't have to, it's not an all or nothing as far as if you give, you know, access to 5 pages to your mom, you don't have to give the same 5 to your dad. Which can be useful and beneficial depending on your situation. So definitely want to highlight that. It is completely controlled by you. So on your Duke Hub, as I noted in the beginning, that is one of your options on your dashboard is managing this access. So what you'd be doing is plugging in an email for your presumably parent, and it's going to send them the information to set this up. You as a student driving this are going to choose what they can see. Now, mainly families want to see that bill. They want to see your aid offer. Yes, maybe they want to see those grades. That's a conversation we'll let you have. But as you can see here, these are the categories and the sections of your hub that you can choose for your family, your parents, your guardians to see when they log into their separate version of your hub. So I've put the link here of where that information lives. So for those who may want to see like a printout of the instructions or a step-by-step of how it looks, you can go to the SIS office webpage to see that documentation. But again, it's something that we would encourage you to establish early on so that parents can get familiar as well with whatever you've given them access to. But mainly it's usually that bill and seeing that financial aid so that they aren't dependent on you. You're on campus, you're busy, you've got things to do, places to be, people to meet. And we understand that, we want to respect that, but we also want your parents to be informed and knowledgeable, so that they are learning the Duke way as well, and able to ask us questions, and so that we're able to have conversations with them about what's happening with your account, because they've demonstrated they can see it. They can see it, they can access it, and we can have a full conversation, to better aid you and them in making payments and understanding, all of that good stuff. So give your parents proxy access. Okay. So here in the financial aid office, hopefully you've seen a few of our faces already if you've been able to come around for Blue Devil Days or pop in appointments with us. But each of you has a dedicated financial aid counselor. We haven't finalized everything just yet, but over the course of the summer, we will. So the counselor you are assigned is who you will be working with for the next 4 years. We will be the ones reviewing your profile, your FAFSA, your updated tax documents year in and year out to determine every year's aid offer and what benefits you have access to. So definitely, I think we're a great bunch. Get to know us, whether it's in the office or virtually, however you so feel to contact us and to get your questions answered and addressed, do so. So when the fall and spring term are in session, we are here and available during certain periods or certain times of the week, but you can always make a virtual appointment at your leisure, whatever fits your schedule, to address all of your concerns and questions. On our website, there is a page dedicated to making appointments. So if you aren't familiar with that, I do suggest you go look just to see what that looks like, because you are booking online. But we give you the option. Do you want to be in person? Do you want a virtual appointment? Do you just want a phone call? You drive that. Let us know what you need when you need it, and we will do our best to meet you where you are, as they say. So in the near future, be on the lookout for communications regarding, one, your finalized aid offer, now that we are finally rolling with FAFSAs. Two, communications to accept student loans and to complete that paperwork. And then three, health insurance. That's going to be the next big item on your to-do list. It will be completing the health insurance waiver. So as those communications are happening, as they're rolling out and your email is filling up and you're becoming overwhelmed and have questions, definitely reach out to us and we will help address or steer you in whatever direction you may need to handle all of those things. But again, we're here for 4 years, so we do get to know you guys pretty well. We get to know your families very well, your finances pretty well. So that is our goal and our purpose. We aren't just the overseers of aid, we truly are your counselors. So we're here if you need. Okay. So the loan office is separate from the financial aid office, but we're all one big family. So you do have access to the personal finance office here at Duke. They can help you understand a little bit more about your loans. They can help you understand and navigate budgeting, how to create a budget, how to stay within your means when you're here on campus. So they have a host of seminars and webinars and in-person activities to help students better understand finances while at Duke and beyond. So they have a plethora of information and resources on their website to help you navigate credit. What is credit? How do I build credit? Loans, how do I pay them off responsibly? How do I know if what I'm taking on is the right thing to do? They can help you with those bigger questions to help set you off on the right path while at Duke and beyond. Okay. Well, that is it for me. I have not looked at the Q&A, so I don't know what's in there. But I hope this has been helpful and given you some to-dos and some insights as to the Duke Hub and the Duke world from the financial aid perspective.
Thank you, Nicole. That was awesome and so comprehensive. Yes, the chat has been, or the Q&A has been very lively, and the
Yeah,
team
there
behind
is.
the
Okay.
scenes has
Yeah.
answered a lot of really great questions.
Okay.
Um, I have a few that I picked out that I want to ask you because I think you mentioned them, but they're so critical.
Mhm.
So one would be, what's the difference between an EFC and what I owe?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Okay, so if you recall, or even if you have in front of you right now, your Duke specific aid offer, we do our best to explicitly state, here's what you would owe Duke. So it says estimate of bill and it's in bold. So when all is said and done, if just based on your grant funding, you would like to know what you owe, that is the document to refer to. And it's in the middle, estimate of bill. That number is what you would need to be prepared to either pay out of pocket through a payment plan or with financing to Duke for the entire academic year. So divided in two, half of that for the fall, half of that for the spring. Your family contribution, which you refer to as EFC, we call it the family contribution. That is a holistic number. So the family contribution is the big number, of which a portion is the bill, and the rest is what we think you're going to pay for travel, what you're going to pay for your supplies and your books, what you're going to pay for ramen noodles and toilet paper. So it is a comprehensive figure, that family contribution. Most of it is paid to Duke, but the rest of it is money Duke's never going to see. We just want you to think about and be prepared to spend or to give or to have available as a student on campus throughout the course of your 9 months here.
Awesome. There are multiple questions about health insurance and how that fits into the bill. So I'm going to read one specifically. You also could go broader because there's lots of questions on this, but is Duke Health Insurance included in the tuition and part of the tuition cost on the bill?
Mhm.
I think the follow-up would be, if health insurance is waived, does that impact the family contribution?
Got it. Okay, so health insurance is a completely separate item. So if you look at the detailed description of what your billed expenses are, it's not there. The health fee is not insurance. The health fee pays for the services while on campus, and that's something everyone pays for. It's a standard mandatory fee. Insurance is completely separate and is specific to each family. So it's a net zero, is the best way to say it. If your home coverage meets Duke's criteria, then you don't need our insurance. You will not be charged for it. It will have no effect. If you do need our insurance because you either don't have any or your home coverage is deemed insufficient, then you will be charged. You will be enrolled in the Duke plan. And if you're receiving grant aid from Duke, we will add additional funding to cover that charge. So at this very moment, it doesn't matter whether or not you need insurance because it's not an item in your budget currently. And we don't know yet. You have to complete the waiver process to determine, do you need it? Great, we'll pay for it. If you don't need it, it comes off the bill. So what we estimate you to pay as the family does not change because we're either going to cover it or you don't need it. It's going to be one of those two situations. So again, estimate of bill that you see on your aid offer from Duke is going to be the same regardless of the health insurance decision.
Amazing. And one more time, could you say, when will that information about the waiver go live?
Literally in like 2 weeks. So it's always mid-June that the health office sends a mass email to all Duke students informing them of the waiver process. It is a third party, so it's going to direct you to that third party site to enter your home coverage information. So if you have home coverage, you're going to fill in the policy information as listed. If you don't have health insurance, there is an option to indicate that you don't have anything to submit. And then so that's all going to get processed based on Duke's specific criteria for any student here in Durham. And you're going to see that decision. So it shows it to you. Yes, your home coverage has been accepted. You don't need the Duke plan. You're not going to be charged. Or, you know what? Your waiver's denied. You do need the Duke health insurance. You're going to be enrolled. That charge is going to be applied to your balance. And then that's when the financial aid office steps in, sees that information, and we increase your grant aid to accommodate and to cover it. So it's a dollar for dollar. It's all charged in the fall. So it's a hefty fall fee that freaks most people out. But don't worry, don't be alarmed. If you complete the process on the waiver site correctly, nothing about your current situation will change. We will cover it, or it's not applicable.
And I will make a quick plug that the health insurance information is also a task on your first year checklist.
Yes.
So there is a checklist of essential things you have to complete before the fall, and it is on there, so you won't be able to miss it.
Yes, and it's open, the waiver will open in mid-June and runs through mid-September. So you have 3 months to take action. So we encourage you to do it as soon as possible so that determination can be made. And if we need to pay for it, we can go ahead and increase your funding accordingly so that it doesn't throw off your bill, and that the balance I've been telling you you have is what you see when that bill comes out. So definitely by early July, insurance grants will start being applied to accounts. So that's the last 2 weeks of June. If you want to be super proactive, do it then to make sure that your bill accounts for it correctly.
Awesome. There are also a lot of questions about work study. So could you reiterate once more, what's the difference between work study and non-work study?
Yeah.
And when can people start to look for those jobs?
Yes. So I'm going to sound like a broken record. Between June and early July, everything happens. So we will go from being dormant and quiet to telling you to do 10,000 things. So work study, you can access that site now. Your net ID and password are what allow you to log in to the student employment portal. And you can go ahead and see what jobs have been posted for the fall, because that's when your work study allotment will start. So you will see summer opportunities. That's not for you, but the fall. So it just depends. The student employment site is not limited to work study. It's basically a glorified classifieds section. So any Duke employer who is looking to pay a student will post their positions on this site. If it specifies work study, that's just indicating that employer is looking for someone for whom they don't have to pay 100% of the earnings. So you don't, as a student, you don't experience any difference. If it says they're going to pay you $17.50 an hour, you just get $17.50 an hour. On the back end, we're either covering half of that for your employer, or the government is paying 75% of that $17.50 for your employer. But we automatically will determine which work study you can have, federal or Duke. So it's not a choice. You can't flip. It's very specific to your federal eligibility. But any student who wants to have work study can have it. And it's either, if you don't apply for federal, we automatically gave you Duke, and that's what you'll see in June on your finalized aid offer. And you can take that immediately, log into the student employment site, look at the various opportunities, and they are under sections. So for the jobs that require a federal work study student, it will say that. If it doesn't matter, it will say that. So you're never going to pursue something that's not applicable to you. You can either look at all opportunities that aren't work study specific, or you can narrow it down based on the type you've been offered. But students who want to work find the positions, and they are all over the place. It can be something in the hospital, it can be the gardens, it can be the financial aid office. We have work study students. The library, of course, is a popular option. So it really just depends on the student's availability, how many hours they want to work, and what they're comfortable doing once they get here. So I will say most students don't work more than 10, 12 hours a week. Some work more like 5 to 8, especially as a first year, you want to build gradually. But it's meant to be flexible. So as exam time comes around, you may work a little more, you may work a little less. But the whole point is that you're a student first, but as an employee, you're able to earn money directly paid to you, while pursuing your studies and your interests here on campus. So I hope that covers the gist of it. I will say in the postings on the student employment site, it will go ahead and specify, here's the hourly wage and the number of hours we're looking a student to commit to. So whenever you click on it, it's giving you all of that information up front so that you can go ahead and make that decision whether or not you want to contact the employer. But it's all student driven. We're not doing anything for you. We just give you the work study allotment and you navigate that and have that conversation with the employers that you're interested in, to say, hey, I saw your posting, I'm interested in your position, and begin that conversation. And then in the fall, they will hire you. You will do all of the paperwork to be hired as a part-time Duke employee, because that's what you are, and go on from there. Most students do keep their job for 4 years. So every fall they come back, they pick up right where they left off. And it's a very beneficial situation for both students and employers.
All right, last question because we're about out of time.
Mhm.
But I know we talked a lot about proxy and
Yes.
potentially providing proxy to family members, especially if there's an expectation that they're paying or want to see the bill.
Mhm.
Can proxy members accept loans on behalf of the students?
That is a very good question. Um, so I saw that my colleague asked, and I was asking to be sure. As I currently understand it, proxy access is more of a viewing. It's to be able to see the information, but not to act on it. So for instance, the to-do list, a proxy user can see the to-do list, they can't upload to it. They have to go through the student. So I think similarly, I don't know that a proxy user could accept the loans on the student's behalf. And that's part of the FERPA guidelines as far as the student is the adult. So you all are the adults and the drivers, of your student loans and even your grant funding and work study. So we want to ensure that we are in compliance with FERPA guidelines so that you as the student user have to accept the loans. And we see it on our end because your ID is locked in that you accepted them. So I would say that the parent could not. I will test that and find out for sure and let you all know for the purpose of posting this if we need to clarify if I am incorrect. Um, but students should drive and be the ones to take action on their hub, and parents have the option to view through their proxy account.
All right, it is 4:59. Nicole, thank you so much. That was so thorough. I learned a ton. Thank you also to Destiny and Heather being behind the scenes, answering more than 30 questions, typing out answers.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here. If you have any other questions, let us know. We are here all summer long, but we will see you in August.
Wonderful. And again, we are recording this. It'll be posted the same place that you registered for this webinar, posted on the new student website in about 24 to 48 hours. We hope that you will join us next week when we resume our summer transition series webinars. Have a great night.
Good night.